So welcome back to the channel, and today you're in for a treat because we're going to be taking you through an in-depth driver fitting process. Now this is part 1 of the video. Part 2 will be coming soon, so make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for that. But today we're going to be taking my friend Ashley through the first part of his driver fitting process. Now he actually does need a driver, so this is his actual driver fit, and we just filmed it for you guys to watch. And part 1 is going to be going through the different heads. We kind of matched them up with a shaft that we already know works pretty well for him, for the preliminary testing of all the different heads to see which one performs best for him and ticks all of our boxes. And then part 2, we're going to be diving into further shaft testing and making sure the loft and face angle's right, and testing swing weights and all that good stuff as well. So make sure you stay tuned for that. So yeah, let's dive into the video. Right mates, let's talk through your driving a little bit. Obviously, I know most of your good and bad traits, but what you've been seeing recently.
So I like to hit a fade with a driver. If I have to hit a draw, I hit a 3-wood. So
Okay.
I don't want to see a driver going left. I just want to aim down the left and just peel it off, hit a little fade. Usually, if I'm swinging bad, I'll get an over right.
Yeah.
So I'll lose it too far right.
Okay.
So
we don't want to see it really going left because you're aiming left. You want to see it moving right, but if anything, your miss generally was that high right, wasn't it?
High right is the bad miss, yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right, so it's going to be an interesting middle round. Right, so we're just going to be starting from scratch really. Like, I know Ash quite well, played with him for many years, but we're just going to be starting from fresh. And this is going to be part 1 of the video, so make sure you stay tuned for part 2 as well. And in part 1, what we're going to be doing is deciding on head, really. So we're going to be looking at optimizing the performance numbers, ball flight numbers, and also the characteristics around the shot shape that we want to play. And in part 2, we'll do shaft and a little bit more fine tuning, so stay tuned for that. So first up, we're going to be hitting the Paradym triple diamond, 9-degree, set standard 9 degrees, stock weight setup, Ventus Black TR6X, again the shaft that we've dabbled around with you before. We know you quite like it, so we're going to keep that the same for a minute. 45-inch playing length, D3 swing weight, pretty nice little setup I think, so let's get set with this mate. So that's kind of the bad one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
which is not, you know, on this hole you're going to get away with it.
Yeah,
on a lot of holes we play you won't.
Yeah, that's generally the bad one where
it
starts right and continues going right.
A little out of the head. So again, you're an interesting one because you're a bit from the inside, but you want to play that cut.
Yeah.
So it's almost, it is like a push fade, isn't it? Like you're not comfortable getting the path moving left, so we almost want you aiming left, almost playing that little push fade, starting right and going right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And that is pretty perfect. That is absolutely perfect.
That's a decent one.
We love that one. Okay, so pretty decent strike there, mate. 143 efficiency, pretty good. Launch and spin 12.5, 23. Like those launch conditions. And if anything, the delivery, it should have drawn a touch maybe, but I think it was just slightly heel side, which is where we got that gearing left to right on us. But yeah, really good numbers straight off the bat. What do you think about the look of it, how it sits, how the weight feels, all those sort of things?
Yes, I really like the way it looks, to be fair.
Yeah.
I don't think I was a fan of the blue at first, but at address you can't really notice it.
Yeah.
Almost looks, it does almost look black, to be fair.
Yeah.
And it comes off the face really nice.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a nice
weight feel nice, like swing weight feel good?
Yeah, it does. It's a bit heavier than what I was playing before, so
yeah, might not be a bad thing though. Again, we'll dabble with that a little bit.
That is pretty decent.
Yeah, nice. Just over 300 carry. Tiny little fade. Love that. Again, yeah, really good strike, good numbers. 146 efficiency, even better. Yeah, really, really like that, mate. So that's it's a pretty good little starting point now, isn't it, to be honest?
It is, yeah. No, I like that. It's nice.
Right, good initial numbers from the Paradym Triple Diamonds. That's definitely a contender. So now we're going to be jumping into TSR3, 8-degree head, not 9-degree like the Paradym Triple Diamond, just because that is a higher spin head. So that at 8 degrees is probably comparable to a Triple Diamond at 9 degrees, to be fair. So it should give us fairly similar numbers. Again, 8 degrees set neutral. Weight, we've got 1 click into the heel at the minute. Again, that's something we can dabble about with later down the line. That's just a good guess based on your delivery and your shot shape at the minute. Same shaft.
Same shaft, yeah.
Let's get a set, mate. Sounded good. Love that shape.
That was really good.
Love that shape. Again, almost 300 carry, perfect shot for this hole. Straight out of the middle. Perfect little delivery again, slightly from the inside, very slightly open, which we know is actually what you want to do. To hit that slight little push cut, right out the middle, 25 spins, so even that's giving a little bit more spin than the Paradym at 9 degree. But I really don't mind those numbers for you, very, very balanced. 145 efficiency, that's a great example of a good shot with that, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it felt really nice as well. So that's probably the bad one that I don't want to see.
Yeah.
It just gets
just starting a bit too far out, isn't it?
It starts right and then just continues to go right.
Yeah.
And then probably drops a good 20 yards in the air.
Yeah, the strike wasn't bad. I mean, that again, the delivery is not even terrible.
No.
It's just enough, and very slightly heel side as well, just enough to get starting too far right and a little bit too much right curve on it. That's not even a terrible delivery, but 44 yards offline, I mean, at your speed, we do not have much room for leeway. Better.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Yep, sounding good. How's strike feel? Good?
Yeah, decent.
Yep. Tiny bit heely, so yeah, a little bit low heel. Spin came up a little bit, that's why we lost a bit of yardage, but again, perfect delivery for what we're trying to do, good efficiency. Not a problem with that shot at all. What's the initial reaction, do you think, compared to the Paradym in terms of just looks, feel?
So it's very similar to what I'm using.
Yep.
So the look is, I quite like that look now. I never was a fan of the Titleist being all black. I always like to see, you know, a separation on the top line.
Yeah.
But you know, it's grown on me, so it's not, it looks the same as what I'm using.
What would you pick straight off the bat? Would you prefer looking down at Paradym or TSR?
TSR.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Nice.
I didn't think I would. I always like to see a matte finish driver, and I was never a fan of the gloss, but you know, after playing TSR4, I quite like
classic,
it.
Classic,
it
just
is.
classic shape, innit?
Takes you back to your youth, doesn't it, when you're playing Titleist drivers?
Yeah, we might not look that old, but we're in our 30s, so getting on.
That was definitely a hill strike.
Yeah. And that does seem to be just floating into the heel a little bit more.
It does,
with that,
doesn't it?
So we could dabble a little bit more with that weight, to be fair. Maybe knock
like
that a little bit toe side, because I think moving that CG will maybe just help shift that strike a little bit more into the toe, because that is the strike that we don't want for you.
No.
Because if you're inside and open face and heel strike,
It's always
just
right,
going to
isn't
curve.
it?
Yeah, it's too much. It's
It
not
didn't
the
feel
strike
like
miss.
a, you know, too dissimilar swing to the rest of them.
No. Interesting, isn't it? It does just want to kind of peel off that little bit more than the...
Yeah, I mean, they're all very consistent.
than the triple diamond.
The triple diamond was, you know, consistently good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was consistently better, I would say. So I must say, like me personally, looking at the performance and the numbers and stuff straight off the bat, I'm preferring Paradym.
Yeah, I would go for the Paradym over this.
At the minute.
Just based off those last four or five shots with each.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so maybe edging towards a Paradym at the moment. TSR was a little bit hit and miss, but we're going to jump into the Aerojet LS now and hit a set with this. I don't know if this will be the best for you, but it's worth a go. Initial reaction?
Honestly, I'm not a massive fan of the initial looks.
Okay.
It sits really open and it looks like there's a lot of loft on it already.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure whether that's just because, you know, the matte face blends into the matte crown and then it hits the gloss.
Yeah. Cobra drivers do sit open, 100%.
Yeah, I say, because I had the LTX for a while, didn't I? And
yeah.
that one just was a really big right miss. So
yeah, like
this one almost feels like this is what it's going to do already without hitting it.
Just because of the way it sits.
Yeah, I feel like this is just going to go right and keep going right.
Yeah, it's another big part of the fitting though, isn't it? That, even if that weren't true, like if you stand over it thinking this is going right, psychologically you're screwed from the start.
And, you know, aesthetically, looks play a big part, I think, when you're getting a club fitting as well.
100%.
If you stand there, even if this was the best driver out of the batch that we're going to try, I think I'd still struggle to game it.
Yeah.
Just purely because of how it looks behind the ball.
Yeah, well,
I could be wrong.
See what it does. Might just stripe everyone 340 down the middle now.
Oh yeah, then we'll have to go with that, won't we?
Yeah, that's the miss we don't want.
Yeah. But that's what I felt like it was going to do before I even hit it.
Yeah. Again, it just comes back to that psychological element. Like you don't want to be thinking that you're going to hit your miss. Like that's Helia, face open, far too much. It's just a bad strike, bad delivery. Yeah, bad.
No. So I don't mind the driver sitting open at address because I feel like I can't lose it left then.
Yeah.
Just that sits. To me, it looks like it sits really open.
Yeah.
And it's 9 degrees, is it?
Yeah, it's 9 degree
Set
neutral.
Neutral.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we can grab that one out of your hands, mate.
Yeah, no, we don't like that one.
Which again, straight off the bat, that's kind of what I thought. And we're going to hit a couple of the Stealth 2 Plus now as well, just for viewers. Again, I would not be telling you to game it because you're right, miss. Right, Aerojet is out. This might not be too far behind it. We'll see. Don't want to prejudge. Stealth 2 Plus, 9 degree set neutral, 9 degree. I've actually popped the weight in the heel a little bit for you at the minute, just to maybe get that toe closing over a little bit more. But again, we'll see. Still same shaft, so let's hit a set and see what we think, mate.
Yeah, I mean, initial looks, I never was a fan of the red face on photos.
No.
But at address, you can't notice it.
No.
It doesn't stand out with the red face.
No, I think it's a loft thing as well. If you have something that's got a lot more loft, you'll probably see it. But that 9 degree, I think the shape's really nice. It's quite a classic shape.
Yeah, it's a nice looking shape, isn't it?
Plus, it's got obviously the black ring around the back, not the reds. That's quite nice. It's a really flat driver. It's like one of the flattest drivers I've ever made. That's why it's quite fade biased as well. It's really flat. So it sits nice and kind of flat on the ground, which it looks lovely, I think. It's just started right and gone right.
Yeah.
It happens so often in fittings though that, like, it's just, I've said it on a lot of my videos, but it's just such a fade bias driver.
Yeah.
Strike wasn't that bad, a little bit high, but it wasn't terrible.
Too bad. It sounds all right off the face as well.
Yeah.
I kind of expected with it being the carbon face, it was going to be really dead, like a dull sound. It's not, is it?
I actually think it's one of my faavorite sounding and feeding drivers.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it, but yeah, fade bias. Ooh, and that's, again, reaction, right? Don't want to see it going right. Thought, let's try and close this face up. Big left. That's exactly what we don't want. You having to react. And that is exactly what I found when I gamed that. Good strike. It's like, I've always had a left miss. So for me, standing on the tee, feeling like I almost have to aim down the left and try and draw it to get a fade, it just absolutely messes with your head. So I was like, I can't play this because it's so fade biased that you can't be feeling that. You need something to gel better, and that is not what we want to see.
No.
Yeah, that is just gone.
Yeah, no, I'm struggling with this.
Well, it's just the fact that you're a good enough player that if I gave you enough shots, that you would find a way. Do you know what I mean?
You'd manipulate it, wouldn't you?
But that's not what we want. The strike pattern's not good. The strike pattern's sporadic. The dispersion's sporadic. You're feeling like you have to adjust kind of on the fly to try and get the result that you want to see. Like it's just not clicking, it's not gelling with you. No. So that's straight out your hands, I think, mate. Right, so favouring the Paradym. So what we're going to do is just to make sure we're going to jump back into that head quickly. Just double check, really. So
yeah, no, I really like it. It's actually my favourite looking one out of the four.
Yeah, so you think you've changed your opinion now based on earlier when we went from the Paradym to the
TSR3. Yeah, I preferred the 3.
Yeah.
But then going into the Aerojet, they look completely different to the TSR, and then the Stealth 2 again. When you put that down, it actually looks really nice. I really like the matte finish hitting the gloss.
Yeah.
That separation from face to head at the 4 is more noticeable. So I really like that.
Even with that straight away, it's a little bit more curve than we'd want to see, but it's absolutely fine. I mean, just catching right rough is semi, not even rough, like semi. I mean, and you just picked up and hit it straight out the middle as well, which is awesome.
And it feels so different to the rest of them as well. When you jump from Stealth or Aerojet to Stealth and then Stealth back into this, it feels so different, doesn't it? So
yeah,
you probably need.
Sounds good though. Like sounds really good.
It really does.
Lovely, mate. Great swing. Right, not quite the fade, but super, just neutral ball flight, super straight. Just over, it's long as well. It's a long club as well, that Paradym. It really is. when you catch it, it goes. Yeah, I was going to say a little bit toey, but 145 efficiency, perfect. 12-2 launch, 22 backspin. I mean, it's neutral. It had no curve on it at all, really. 63 revs of left spin.
Yeah.
Just awesome. Really good numbers.
So they're the sort of numbers that I'm comfortable at as well. 116 to 118.
Club,
it's not trying to swing off this, you know. It's a little bit slower than what we used to, isn't it? But
yeah.
you know, it's
fine though, mate. If that's your gaming speed, I mean, around 170 ball, we don't need any more than that, especially courses we play. So there we have it, end of part one. We have settled on the Paradym Triple Diamond. Obviously, there were a lot of shots cut out from that because we were hitting for a long time. I was just trying to give you an idea of the process that we went through. We did test quite a few more bits and bobs as we went through. We went back to the TSR3 again after we'd gone through. So Paradym, then TSR3, then Aerojet, then Stealth 2 Plus. We then went back to the Paradym. I wanted to get Ash hitting a couple more with TSR3 as well, just to make sure that we were making the right decision going down the line with the Paradym. So we hit some more with the TSR3. We dabbled with the weight setting in the toe and neutral, but it actually just moved the strike pattern a little bit more out into the toe, which if anything for Ash, it just got it turning over a little bit easier than we would like it to. So he really didn't want to feel like it was going to go left on him. And I know that the TSR3 can be a little bit more draw bias at times than the kind of Paradym Triple Diamond. So none of those settings really just fully gelled. Whereas I felt that with the Paradym, it ticked all of the boxes from a confidence perspective from Ash, the looks, the sound, the feel, just how it's set up behind the ball. He loved that, gave him the confidence, that ticked all the boxes from that perspective. And from my perspective, the performance of the head when he hit a good one, we knew that the numbers were really good. It was performing really well. The ball flight was really good. The head is obviously like a little bit fade bias, a little bit more fade bias than a TSR3, but nowhere near as much as like the Stealth 2 Plus, for example. So it sits in that nice middle ground where Ash didn't feel like it was going to go left, but at the same time, we weren't losing a massive right like we were with the Stealth 2 Plus. It just sat really in that middle ground, so ticked all of the boxes that we wanted to. So part two is really, really good. So please do make sure you stay tuned for that, where we really dial this in, test different shafts and different swing weights and all those kind of good things, face angles, all that stuff. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought below, and I'll see you, hopefully, in part two.